Hello guys, so today I'm going to show you how to turn any object, anything into a Lego set. So let's get started. Okay, before we start, I need to tell you that you need to have the 3.40 beta version. I'm going to leave you a link down below for you to download it in the Blender's website. Because there are some new nodes in the geometry nodes that we are going to use to make this effect faster. Let's go to the geometry nodes panel, add new, and let's add a mesh to volume. This is one of the new nodes. And then let's add distribute points in volume. Let's change the mesh to volume to size and this one to grid. And let's add one more node, as always, instance on points. Okay, so now you can see anything. That's because we need to add cube. So let's add a cube. So we have some geometry that's connected to the instance, and now they are 2 gigs, so I know that I need to scale them down and use this value. So to make everything easier, I'm going to use a value node. I'm going to set it to 300 and I'm going to connect this to our scale. And now we have the right scale. So now we are starting to have some form, our pumpkin form, but we need to do a few more things. First, let's connect this to the vortex size and to the interior bandwidth. And I don't want my cubes to be on the insides of our mesh, so I'm going to take fill volume. I don't want them to be filled. Okay, so one more thing, we need to also connect this to the spacing. And now, if we change this volume, if we change this value, and you need to be careful because this gets heavy really fast. So let's change it to 1. As you can see, we have our pumpkin in here. But this is cube, so now we need to create our Lego piece. Let's do that. I'm going to let this in 3. Okay, so now let's create our Lego piece. Control A, plane. I'm going to face modes. I'm going to scale this down to 0.5, half of the size, so 1 meter. I'm going to extrude this by 1.23. I'm going to insert this by 0.192, and then I'm going to extrude this by 0.218, and I'm going to insert this bottom part by 0.154. and extrude this a bit up. You can see anything? Now you can. Let's go back. Now let's go to edge mode, select these edges, Control B to bevel it, and in order for this to not intersect, click C 1 time, and now they won't intersect anymore, and create some subdivisions. I added 6 subdivisions and I think this is good. Now let's select everything by clicking A and now M to merge by distance. And this is our Lego brick. I like to smooth this out, so shade smooth, go in here, normals, auto smooth, and now let's add a bevel modifier. Go into shading, harden normals, and I'm going to 0.2 I think this is too much. Okay, now we have our Lego brick. Let's bring our pumpkin back. And let's delete this cube and drag our Lego piece in here and connect the geometry to the instance. And now we changed our cubes by our Lego piece. So we changed our cubes for our Lego pieces, but they are intersecting each other, and to change that we need to add a vector map, connect the value to our maths and change this to multiply, and add this to our spacing. So now you can see anything. That is because we need to add 1, 1, and 1.23. Okay, so why these values? Because I know my Lego piece has these dimensions. As we created, it has 1 on the base and all of that. So, but now we are facing another problem, but as you can see, they are all connected and I really want them to have a little space between them. So I'm going to add one value here, one value here, and one value here. And as you can see, they are a bit separated because every Lego piece it's a bit separated. Okay, so and this is how you create it. If you want, again, if you want them to be smaller, you change this number, and here it is. So let's do a few more things. Because this is really heavy, I want to have the ability to change the amount in the viewport and the amount in the render. So to do that, we are going to need 2 more nodes and to duplicate this one. So let's Shift D and now add a switch, change it to float, and add a keys viewport. Connect the switch, and this let's connect one to the false and one to the truth, and let's switch the value to the switch. So control and drag, and now you can't see anything because we need to change our attribute in here. So I want 3 in the viewport, sorry, not here, 3 in the viewport, and the false it's our render, so I want 0.5. So now let's change the names. So instead of false, I want to change this to render, and the true to view. So now our pumpkin is working and we have everything set up, but we are missing one thing, which is the color. When we go here, as you can see, this is white and our pumpkin has textures. How do we add our textures? So we need a few more nodes, and first let's add a set material, and let's go to the pumpkin base. So now we are facing another problem, which is, as you can see, let me add more lights. As you can see, the shading is in every single Lego piece individually, and we don't want that. We want this to be a whole. And in order for us to do this, we need to do 2 things. So first we need to bake our pumpkin. Why? because the colors of our pumpkin are created with nodes, and Geometry Nodes doesn't like this and it won't work really well, so we need to bake everything, both these materials, this stick and the pumpkin base, into a single image texture. And how do we do this? We need to first unwrap our pumpkin. So let's go to the UV editing, and I did this already, but I'm going to teach you how to do it. So go to edit mode, face mode, click A, U, Smart UV unwrap, let this be like this, and let's add 1 so we have a bit of space, and click scale. And here is our pumpkin, so unwrapped. So make sure everything is in the limits, and in here, as you can see, everything is in the limits. This is what we want. And now let's go back to the shading panel, and well, we need to create a texture. So I have this in here, but I'm going to delete it, and let's add a image texture. Just letter here, click new, give the name you want. I want pumpkin, and let's change this to a bit more resolution. So I want add this and 4, and as you can see, it multiplies by this number, 4 multiplied, and okay, let's click OK. So now we have our texture, but we need to bake it. So how are we going to do? Let's select our pumpkin. I'm going to go back to the UV, make sure it's selected. It is selected, everything is selected. Go to the shading. This is selected. Let's Ctrl C because we need to add this to the pumpkin's stick as well. So Ctrl V to add exactly the same. As you can see, we have 2 here. And now we are going to the render properties. Change to cycles. You need always to be in cycles to bake. Go to the bake panel, and now I only need the color, the base color. So the base color is the diffuse. The diffuse is the same as the base color, and I don't want the lights because otherwise this is going to bake. If we select this, it's going to bake with the light that we have in our scene, and I don't want that. So let's disconnect that. And this usually I think is in 12 or something lower down, so it's faster and you won't sacrifice quality. And in here in the max samples, let's change this to 10 just to bake, because again it won't sacrifice resolution and it will be much faster. Okay, and here that's 0. Okay, so everything is selected. This is selected in here, this is selected, yes, and in our UV it's also selected. So now let's click bake, and as you can see we have a timer here. I'm coming back as soon as this is baked, but as you can see it's quite fast. Okay guys, so here it is. We have our texture baked, so we need to go here, image, and save in any place that you want in your PC. Okay, so after you do that, let's go back to the shading panel and let's create a new material to this pumpkin. Okay, I'm going to take this down and take this down. Lego pumpkin, and I'm going to add our texture, image texture. I'm going to open and add our base. So connect this to the base color, and we still can't see anything change. That's because we need to add a few more nodes in the geometry nodes panel, which are a sample nearest, change it to face corner, a named attribute, and a sample index. So let's change these to vector and this to face corner, the same as here, and this one to vector as well, so the same. Let's give this the name of our UV map, so UV map. And we need to add one more, which is a store named attribute. And in this one, we are going to change to vector again and to instance. And we need to give this name the same as this. And the caps are important. So UV map, exactly the same. Okay. So let's connect this value into here, value in here, the attribute to the value, this into the index, and the output into the geometry and the output into this geometry as well. And so now it's still not working because we need to go to the shading and add one node in here, which is an attribute. So go to connect this to the vector and change the name to the same name as the previous, so UV map. And change UV map, and still nothing because you need to change this to instance. Okay, so now this should work, but I just remembered that we have the wrong material. We have to change this to Lego pumpkin because it's the material that we added, because it's the new material that we added to our Lego pumpkin. Okay, so don't forget that Lego pumpkin, change it to the new material that you just created with the texture. So Lego pumpkin, as you can see, this is the name of the material that we added our texture and our attribute, Lego pumpkin. Okay, so this is it. This is how I made the Lego pumpkin and transform everything into a Lego set. I can show you my scene. Okay, so guys, this is how I created my scene. I added a few lights, a camera, and an empty to create, to say to the depth of field where I want the focus to be in the pumpkin. Here it is. This is really low res because otherwise Blender would crash, but this is the final render right here. When I change my pumpkin to 0.03 in the render and in the view is at 4, really low as you can see. And this is it, guys. So that's it. This is how you turn anything, any object into a Lego set. Please consider subscribing, give it a like, and if you want to support me, please consider buying this on Gumroad. It's only $1 and it would help me a lot. Everything is in here, the lighting, the setup, the same setup, everything ready for you to create this beautiful image. And if you want, create other beautiful image, but you will have access to everything, the lighting, the these shadows that I created, and everything only for $1. Please consider to buy this, and yeah, I see you next week. Thank you.